Good morning, Bob. How are we doing today?
Doing good, man. How are you
Hey,
doing?
I got a special guest today.
Whoa, somebody else in the cab, huh?
Yeah, he walked in the office and we're getting ready to do our show, so I had him take a seat. This is my little brother here, one of my lead dispatchers at Four Keys Logistics. How we doing, Case?
Yeah,
Oh, we're
bud.
doing pretty good. Got conned into doing this. Came in to ask him a question, and here I am.
Well, we figured you
Well,
might have
welcome
some
to
good
Truckin'
information
Bob.
for us. Since you're running some trucks, we might as well pick your brain a little bit and see what we can get out of you.
Yep. Well, what do you need to know?
Well, what are we seeing out there, Bob? Anything changing for you on your end?
My little Louisiana honey hole from back and forth to Dallas tightened up a little bit, but the Ontario out, Phoenix and Las Vegas still doing great. Running my reefer unit across the top, great numbers with them. I mean, I
Good.
would say that Southeast is really it's just like that map that you're looking at right there shows that's about what life looks like and feels like out there.
Does it?
KCU.
What are you seeing, Case? About the same thing?
Yeah. The rates out of Ontario for me, because I run a lot of inner California, and they're tightening up a little bit. They are. I'm seeing a lot of lower rates posted out of LA area, but I'm still getting the good rates, but I'm definitely fighting harder for them.
Well, that is the trick. If you go straight to the load board, you do see them posted out for a little bit cheaper. You try to get some people that'll negotiate you low or start out low on their negotiations, but uh, we got some badass people that help us out.
Well,
Shout out to Ryan.
yeah, we have connections, right? That's how we do this, guys. It's that you make connections with brokers and carrier reps and shippers and people along the way, and then you use those connections when times are good and times are bad, and it typically pays off. And
Yeah.
so that's what helps us get loads. Imagine trying to book these loads without any connections. How far would we get?
Not very
Oh
far.
man, be stuck on the phone all day with XPO, JB Hunt, all that kind of junk. Good connections are where it's at.
Most
And
people don't realize that about 90% of the loads that we actually book for our carriers aren't even posted on the boards, especially
yeah,
not on DAT.
Yep.
That's one of the last things we like to use. We like to use the brokers boards before we even get in to DAT and looking on there. I mean, we always have it up, but for the most part, you get the good freight straight from the brokers before they get posted on DAT. So that's basically how we run. I mean, most of my freight, I get it before it hits any of those boards. So
yeah,
a lot of
especially
people
with
don't
your
even have a chance to get it.
lane. Yeah, definitely. If you're running
So
consistent lanes, it's definitely coming out of the email box or the phone call list opposed to off the load boards.
So we talked about we like to throw a little bit of information in here on what we're seeing, but we talked about intra-California freight kind of slowing down. This is a week over week change. We're seeing there hasn't been much change, and that's probably what you're feeling out there. You're able to still get those rates because volumes are kind of stagnant. Down here in the Ontario market, it looks like we picked up a little bit, but not much. So not enough for us
Billy,
to
what's
see it.
this? What's this chart showing us as height and color wise?
So we're looking at tender rejects, which is going to be the color. So anywhere you see red, there's been a decrease in tender rejects, and anywhere you see blue, there's been an increase in tender rejects. So anything that's like a light blue or just kind of white, really not much of a change. And that's what Casey was alluding to was, yeah, I'm finding freight, but rates, it's been a little bit more difficult. Well, it's because things are kind of stagnant over here.
Hmm.
If anything, we've had an increase in rejections down here in Ontario. So, that means freight's kind of moving in slower volumes wise, and, trucks are kind of migrating into the area. But they'll migrate out. We talk about it all the time. It's kind of like a wave. It goes up and it goes down and it goes up and it goes down. We just happen to be on a
Yeah.
down wave over here. But somewhere
You
we're
know
not
who's
on a
not
down
going
wave
down
is,
is North Dakota. Look at that bad boy.
yeah, I know that
Still
thing's
way
really
up.
picked up, hasn't it? It's outbound tender rejection is up 5.62% from last week, but you really got to be careful in these markets because there may only be 100 loads that come out of there on a daily
Whoa.
basis. So if it picks up 5 loads, you're going to see that big jump like that on those smaller markets.
Yeah.
What you're
It,
seeing up there right now is a lot of seed coming and going from the North Dakota market. There's a lot of seed. They're getting ready to store it for the winter or whatever they do with it. It's farming.
yeah.
But a lot of seed gigs. I have a guy who runs Minnesota pretty regularly, and that's what we've seen a lot of produce too.
So I was reading an article and they were talking about these ports over here. Remember we've been talking about this area over here. It looks like it's starting to cool off a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yep.
But we're expecting it to pick back up. I guess the import volumes over here on the East Coast in this Elizabeth, New Jersey port has really, really picked up, and they're just getting hit hard with
Isn't that
freight.
what we're hearing from like all the main ports? Like every port has ships just parked out at sea waiting to get into it, right?
They do, yeah. It's just a way. I guess the Gulf Coast is not as bad as like the port of Long Beach, Los Angeles, and then the East Coast ports are really getting hit hard. You remember last month it was Savannah. Savannah was really
Hmm.
picking up. That port was really taking in a lot of volume. Now the volume's kind of moved up here to the New Jersey port, so we're really
It's
seeing volumes
interesting to
pick up.
see how it rolls around like that.
And we just did a challenge. We do these weekly challenges, and we were in the Northeast, and really, what did we learn about the Northeast, guys? I'll let you go ahead and put that information out there.
Man, it's surprising. That's what I love about these challenges. Uh, what the focus of the challenge is we essentially roll a dice, an electronic dice, and it picks a region for us: the Western 11, the Western 7, the Southeast, the Midwest, or the Northeast. We got Northeast Dry Van this week, and out of Rochester, New York, of all places. Guys, if you live in Rochester, New York, and you want to make great money, there's lanes out there that'll pay you averaging over $4 a mile, and you do not have to leave your little horn of America. It's crazy. I never expected that. Casey, did you expect to see it like that?
No, it's kind of one of those areas that we've stayed away from before COVID hit and everything else. It was kind of like a dry area. I mean, it'd pay you good to go in, and you'd get boned coming out. But
Yeah.
nowadays, you're looking $4 or $5 a mile to run up there. You will have to pay tolls, obviously, but at those rates, all of us that did the challenge after fuel, we all came in over $8,000 for the week, and that's just running
That's crazy.
maximum 600 miles a day. But most of us were 400 to 500 miles a day, which is usually an average what trucks run. And I mean, clearing $8,000 a week's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's what the challenge winner after
89.
after fuel is $8,900 just running the Northeast.
It's
So
actually 89
And I think
90,
we
so
have
it's
our
actually
I
nine
think we have our
thousand
fuel
dollars
set for
after
four
fuel.
dollars a gallon, right?
yeah, at $4 a gallon, that's what we have it at. I don't know what our national average is, but that's a lot. You could literally run 5 6 days a week up here in the Northeast and profit 9 or 10 grand or 8 to 9 grand, I should say. So
Yeah.
there's
Fuel's actually a little bit cheaper over there than the West Coast.
and
Me and
it is.
Billy were just back there last month, and fuel was around, what was it,
It was in the low threes,
320s,
yeah.
320s over there. So we're
Must
actually
be
our
nice.
our
California,
fuel
I
average is
just
a little
pulled
bit
up to the
higher
pump
than
the
we
other
have it
day.
at. So you might have a little more profit in there than that.
Mm-hmm.
California's at like $4.20 right now for diesel.
That's crazy. That's why we kind of average it out. But California is always higher. I did bring in some reefer data. We talked about this Monday. We just haven't had a chance to jump back on here and put another show out. But we talked about reefer freight really picking up, and so I wanted to bring up a map and show you kind of where it's happening at. So on this chart, where you're seeing the color is where we're seeing the volume pick up. Um,
Okay.
so so anywhere where it's dark blue, that's where the reefer volume is picking up, guys. So the Fort Worth market's picking up in some volume. We're seeing the Fresno and Ontario markets picking up. We're really seeing it up here in Idaho with the onions and all that good stuff coming off. So reefer
What's
season.
that nice chunk over there by Kansas, St. Louis
Look at
looking
this.
area?
The Atlanta reefer market's really picking up too. Which one are you talking about, Bob? Up here,
Right there.
Omaha? We got
Omaha.
Omaha, Joplin, Little Rock. All of these are picking up. You get a lot of like pork and chicken and all that good stuff coming out of these markets year round. But when produce or something else comes off with it, you'll see them pick up. So our reefer freight is definitely picking up, and we have a hurricane coming in down here in the south, guys. So
Yes, we do.
I'm sure everybody's aware of it. But I think when's it supposed to hit? It's supposed to hit next
Sunday night,
Sunday.
Sunday.
morning.
Sunday, they're saying it's hard to track. I mean, it's a big weather system, so it's changing speeds and directions, so they're hard to track, but they're anticipating it to break landfall Sunday.
between
sometime.
August 29th and August 31st. It's showing on here. So anything down here in the Louisiana area, even this Texas, this Houston market will probably be affected.
I would definitely avoid that area if you could until
Yeah.
after, and then I'm sure the freight's going to even more booming because they had to put everything on hold.
Anytime we see these disruptions, what we see after the fact is just a backlog of freight, and then rates will pick up. So expect to see some good rates coming out of this area over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday next week's a good time to land in there and hit your big rates coming out.
Yeah, for sure. Lastly, we want to talk about some news, and we always talk about your guys' insurance rates and the price of let's see, where's it at right here, and the price of getting in to insurance policy as a new carrier. And it's because of things like this. There's two trucking companies involved in this lawsuit, and combined it was a $1 billion verdict against them. And this accident happened back in 2016, I believe it was, or 2017. Basically, one of the trucks hit the back. One of the trucks had gotten in an accident and rolled over, and the guy was out of hours, so he was beyond his hours. And then in the traffic jam, another guy doing 70 miles an hour with his cruise control set, playing on his phone without a Class A driver's license, plowed into the back of this car that was stopped from the first accident and killed the guy. And the liability falls on the truck and the trucking company because they didn't have a properly licensed driver, and they didn't have and they were in violation. Both trucks were in violations of their hours of service, and now they're paying for it. So as long as we have this stuff happening in the industry, and the insurance is taking on that liability, they're going to charge you more. So guys running out there, they're cheating their hours, and they're driving without a license, and all you're doing is hurting the whole industry, because now insurance is going up for everybody. And this guy here, this trucking company, AJD, he was the one that rolled first. He wasn't the one that hit behind, I believe. I may have that backwards, but they didn't even show up. Both of these companies have been out of business for a couple of years now. They're inactive on the FMCSA website, but it's things like this. We see them all the time, these nuclear verdicts, but this one is a record for sure. A $900+ million verdict against them. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Another thing, if we're going with weather, is there are some severe storms in the Midwest, and we see them right here on our map. We probably should mention those.
What's happening in the Midwest?
Yeah, in the Midwest. Do you have a truck running over here, don't you, Bob?
Yeah, I have a couple trucks that stay over there in the Midwest.
I think you got one that runs right in this area, right?
Minnesota.
Yeah, what's up with the weather over there in Minnesota?
Runs this whole area, so I'm sure he's dealing with some weather right now, running up through there.
My guy though, he's so used to it. He just slows down a little bit, and he'll drive through the snow and the storm. He just plays it safe.
Yeah. Well, you just we can deal with rain pretty well. The trucks don't mind rain. It's the snow and the hurricanes that really get them. So, if
high
anything.
Wind.
Yeah, high wind too. Yeah, definitely high wind.
Especially on a light load, crossing over there through Wyoming. It's that time of year too, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's always that time of year over here. Fire conditions right now. Looks like fires in the west look pretty decent. I mean, that one's creeping into Tahoe. Did you see that? Look at it. It's getting pretty darn close. I think this map is even a little off. Check it out. It's creeping right in there. So that's not good. We'll see if they can get that under control before it hits Tahoe there. But anyway, since I got both of you guys in here, both my lead dispatchers, and we're talking about dispatching trucks and the benefits to working with a dispatch company, what's if you had one word of advice to somebody out there trying to dispatch your own truck, I'll let you think about it for a second. What advice would you give him as far as how do I dispatch my truck, and which market should I dispatch my truck into if I'm willing to run all 48 states?
My advice would be if you're going to dispatch your own truck, make sure you check the market you're throwing your truck into before you take one of these high dollar loads. Right now the freight's high everywhere, and you can pretty much do well anywhere, but probably Florida coming out. But definitely look where you're sending your truck before you take a load, just because you might be in California, you might get a rate going to Florida, like I'm saying. It might pay you $8,000 or whatever that lane's paying right now. But coming out of there, you're going to get $1 a mile and you're going to eat it. So just make sure you're putting yourself in good markets at all times.
Yeah, just pay attention to the front haul, the back haul sort of markets, because you end up in a back haul market. Yeah, it paid good to go in, but you're going to get it on the way out. So you're going to give back any profits you had. You would have been better off just kind of running those mid-level markets, and then you didn't have to deal with any of that. But we understand why guys do that. Typically, they do that a few times, and they end up calling us and going, "Man, I just can't
chasing that pot of gold.
I just can't seem to make any money. I do good on one load, and then I do bad on the next one." Well, it's because you're just chasing high dollar freight, and that's really not the best way to dispatch a truck.
You don't want to go head haul and then come out, to a back haul to where you're eating it. You want to stay head haul lanes at all times.
Yeah, you definitely do. Bob, what do you have to say to somebody who's not using a dispatch service and you're booking their own truck?
I would say I agree with Casey, but for a different angle, I would definitely say don't give in. Do what's comfortable for you. If you need to be home on the weekends, don't sign on to some big company who's going to tell you that you have to stay out on the road for 3 weeks to a month. You know what I mean? Don't give in. Don't fold. If you're the little guy, stand strong like you're the big guy, because you can do it. There are people out there on your side that will stand behind you, and that's what we're trying to create here is, unity amongst the small owner-operators. Come together and, just remember you're not alone on the road.
Yeah. I want to say one more thing, too, is do lane research before you see the rates posted and just jump after them. DAT does a good job at giving you the rate average. I know, newbies out there, they'll see it, they think it's a good rate, and they'll just take it. You know what I mean? But really, that just hurts the market. If that broker had it posted for a lower rate and they just took it thinking it was good, just do lane research.
I just look at the lane and what it's been paying. What do you guys think about those numbers on DAT? Are they pretty close to accurate when you're out there running your trucks around in those lanes, or is it off?
You have to remember that DAT is pulling all this information and taking an average of it. What they're not doing is taking that information and explaining what how they got to that rate. So there's different. You have last minute loads that might pay really, really high, and then you have loads that are shipped out a week ahead that'll pay really, really low. And if you average that, you come up with a middle, and it's kind of hard to. You really gotta research the lanes, like what Casey's saying, to know what it's really going to pay, because sometimes DAT's just way off.
Yeah, they have a tendency to be pretty good, but there's times where certain lanes are off, and you just gotta beware and kind of do your own research sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I could tell you that right now, DAT says that Rialto to Henderson, Nevada is paying $1,350. I got a guy who definitely takes care of me better than that. So,
And that's an average number, right? Your guy's paying you a little over market because you keep your rates pretty steady, for him, and you give him a steady truck. So it's all about building relationships, guys. So
I think the way DAT comes up with their averages is through posted rates.
Yeah.
I think that's what they do. I'm not 100% sure.
Do you know anything about that, Billy?
They basically go by what brokers are posting on those lanes.
And it's always a little low.
It just kind of averages it out. Sometimes late in the day they'll post a really high rate, which will bring it up. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I think that's how they're getting their numbers.
That's probably accurate, I think, because how else would they know? I know Truck Stop has a way to
Triumph, since they have the cooperating with their check mark on DAT says Triumph. Maybe they're taking the Raycon information from Triumph and Rolodexing it, and then averaging it out from there.
I have access to rates from Truckstop.com, and Truckstop.com actually gets all this information through loads that are booked through their site. They have a Book It Now thing, and then they get these off actual rate confirmations, or at least that's what they say they're doing. So if we just kind of sort here, let's just Just for fun here, let's do this. We'll leave everybody with this. The best paying reefer lane, according to truckstop.com right now, is Elk Ridge to Hartford, and that's always on top. Probably because it's just a little short run,
Northeast lanes.
Northeast lanes. It's true. They're all northeast lanes. Look at them.
Jersey City to Virginia. I mean,
That's why we do good. Syracuse to Hartford.
that area up there is just popping. There's a lot of freight going.
So outside of the Northeast, you're looking at 580 a mile here, Milwaukee to Indianapolis. So get your trucks over here into the Midwest and Northeast, and you'll make pretty good money doing it. And then for a flatbed, let's do the same thing. We'll leave somebody with some good information here. I mean, for a dry van, sorry. Same thing, Elk Ridge, Hartford. Let's find one that's not going to be up there. There you go, LA to Vegas. And that's a lane, Bob, you run often.
Very often.
Paying damn near $5 a mile. So
If you ask me, that's
LA to
that
Phoenix,
number's low.
LA to Vegas, those seem to be pretty solid
They
short
got a
runs.
flatbed on there. What's,
Yeah. Well, let's do flatbed here too. We'll throw this up here. Oops. Sort by value here. LA to Vegas on a flatbed,
Wow.
$5.50 a mile. Yeah,
Same lane.
that's good.
You
So,
guys gotta, I hate to, I don't want to talk smack about Truck Stop's numbers, but you guys really should come work with Four Keys Logistics if you're running that lane. I got a guy who will pay you way better than that. So
yeah. That's it. So anyway, we'll leave it with that, guys. Check us out online, 4keyslogistics.com, if you're looking for a good dispatch service. We like to pride ourselves on the fact that we have connections. We've been in business for 14 years as a trucking company, as a brokerage, and now with a dispatch service that we started 2 years ago. And we have lots of connections. So when you sign up, you pretty much just plug into all those connections where we're able to get you guys these rates or better. And not only that, you put somebody in your corner that knows what they're doing. So especially if you're new authority, it's worth it. And like I say, I'll say it again: if I can make you an extra $295 a week, essentially my service is free. So sign up, try us,
you
check
guys
it
an
out.
extra $295.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll leave it with that. Like, subscribe, leave some comments, guys, if you like what we're doing. Leave us some comments, and we'll try to get back to you guys and maybe give you what you're looking for. So with that said, we'll try to put one out tomorrow. And sorry we haven't been doing it daily. We've been trying, but looks like 3 days a week is kind of what we're getting
We're
at.
actually getting some requests for Trucking with Bob. Like, where's Trucking with Bob been? That feels
Yeah,
kind of
we
good.
did have a request for a
Means
truck.
you guys,
So-
you guys find purpose in this.
So we have 2 people watching this thing regularly, so that's good, right? We'll build it up. So anyway, all right, guys. I don't want this thing to go too long. We're 23 minutes in. We're gonna go ahead and end the show. So we'll see you guys on here tomorrow.
All right, see ya.